his company went from being stuck at 7 figures for the previous 4 years to over 20 million in revenues in less than 18 months. That is a 600% increase. We like to call that hockey stick growth, right? Yeah. You're going along like this, and then all of a sudden, the magic happens here, and then whoop, you just go through the roof. So what's amazing about that example, and one of the reasons that I share that with people, is 95% of what I coached him on was inner game. See, he'd spent all this time, money, and effort on outer game. And it's not that it's wrong. I mean, hey, that got him to 7 figures, but he couldn't break through. And it was only when I taught him my inner game system, that helped him get his foot off the brake. And you can see his video and lots of other people's videos on my website. But that's the point, is only when you master your inner game and outer game, that's when you get the hockey stick.
What's up, all my Why Not Real Estate podcast peeps? My name is Brian Lucier, the host of the Why Not Real Estate podcast, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of our platform, the Why Not Real Estate podcast. Today, we're mixing up our real estate platform just a little bit. So many of our guests come on the show and have revealed, I'm a little excited for our guest today, they've revealed that to achieve success in real estate, you have to have the right mindset. Well, today we're going to flip that on its head to reveal how you can achieve the right mindset to have success in real estate. On today's show, we have international rock star of an author, Dr. Noah St. John. Dr. St. John is known as the father of affirmations and the mental health coach to the stars. Noah St. John is recognized as one of the most requested, in-demand business and motivational keynote speakers and executive coaches on the planet. He is the only author in history to have works published by Hay House, HarperCollins, Simon & Schuster, Mind Valley, Nightingale Conan, and the Chicken Soup for the Soul publishers. Noah has delivered thousands of presentations. That's thousands of presentations for corporations, associations, business groups, colleges, universities, youth organizations worldwide. The list goes on and on and on. And today, it's our privilege to have him here on our show. Noah is the author of 24 books, including his newest book, The 7-Figure Expert, Your Ultimate Guide to a Life of More Impact, Influence, and Financial Freedom. And we'll show you later today how you can get a free copy. Noah works with Hollywood celebrities, 8-figure CEOs, professional athletes. Noah is famous for helping people make more in just 12 weeks than they've made in the last 12 months, all while winning back their lives. Amazing. It is my pleasure today to introduce to you and welcome to our show, Dr. Noah St. John.
And the crowd goes wild. Yay! Thank you, Brian. It's great to be here. Great to be here with you. Thank you.
Oh, I was flattered when I saw your recommendation that we reach out to you. It's like, absolutely, I'm on that.
Awesome.
So how's it been, Noah? Where are you in the world today? How's life treating you?
Well, I am in Northeast Ohio. I've been living here for the past 16 years. We just bought this beautiful 6,000 square foot mansion on a hill. Our clients lovingly call it Success Manor. This is the house that Success built. And I will tell you that I've been doing this, coaching, teaching, mentoring, keynote speaking for over 25 years now. And I started from very, very humble beginnings. I started in 1997 in a 300 square foot basement apartment with $800 to my name and a book on HTML. So from those very humble beginnings, we've been able to help people all around the world, as you mentioned, help real estate investors, help health professionals, chiropractors, nurses, doctors, dentists, lawyers, people in affiliate marketing, coaches, consultants, course creators, to literally add over $2.8 billion in revenues, meaning add 6, 7, and even 8 figures and more. And of course, you, Brian, are one of my great success stories from way back. And I love bragging about you, and I certainly love seeing all the things that you're doing today, and it makes me very proud.
I am humbled by all of that. And yeah, I got to tell people a little bit about how we ran into each other.
Yes.
We were at a success expo in New Orleans.
That's right.
And I remember when you went up, and it was the affirmations book, not affirmations, AFFORMATIONS. And
yep.
if you want, we can dig into that a little bit. But after hearing what you said and connecting the dots from one side of the chasm to the other, which what it was all about, it's like, oh yeah, I'm on board. And you were like over a decade ago, the first person I had ever seen in any of these seminars and stuff like that. You had all of your data on a thumb drive. You were the first. It's like,
yeah,
that is so smart. And I think I was one of the first ones back there.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that was great. I was able to load it up onto back
yes.
then we had MP3 players, and
yes.
doing what I was doing and listening to this. It's like, why am I not living a better life? Why am I not doing all these things? And yeah, it switched around. That's wow. I remember sitting in the audience, and you said, somebody yell out something, a goal or a habit. And I think I came out with, I wanted to make $384,652.29. It was something right down to the penny. And you said, that is a very specific goal.
I did. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Yeah. And here we are. We hit that. And now today, 10 years later, I can say I've added a 0. Yeah, let's see where it goes from here.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's great to be reconnected, after all these years. And, you are definitely one of my success stories that I've, told other clients, because I do one-on-one coaching, I do group coaching. We have online programs. And of course, as you mentioned, over 20 books now. So we have lots of ways that we help people, that we impact people, as well as my keynote presentations and workshops for companies, organizations, and teams, around the United States and all around the world. So, it really is. And I mean, this is an important point because, of course, most of your listeners here are real estate investors or want to be. And the fact is that I've helped people in real estate, people, like you, and I mean, the folks listening to the program, make hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate over the last 20 plus years. And what's funny about that is I don't teach how to make money in real estate. I teach you how to stop stopping yourself from making money in real estate. And Brian, you can definitely speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who don't know, within the last 2 years, my wife and I have moved down here to an island where now we run this podcast. We run our businesses from here. It's all about why not do this? So yeah, a lot of the things that I learned from you have been applied to get me here today, to be sitting in front of you to actually have this interview. So thank you, Round Circle, for bringing us here.
It's an honor.
So I want to jump right in. Your newest book. What inspired you to write a book about building a 7-figure expert business?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the new book, just to show folks what it is, what it looks like. So it's called The 7-Figure Expert, and the subtitle is Your Ultimate Guide to a Life of More Impact, Influence, and Financial Freedom. And aren't those the things that we all want, right? We want more impact, we want more influence, right? And of course, we want financial freedom. That's why you're doing what you're doing right now, or what you want to be doing, right? So the point is that this is what I've been teaching people, whether one-on-one clients or group coaching, for the last 20 plus years. And but I realized that I hadn't put it in a book yet. And so, I've been teaching this to my one-on-one clients. I mean, they pay me $100,000 and more, to get coaching from me one-on-one, or, people pay me anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 for group coaching. So I realized that, I wanted to put what I teach people in a book so that, it's a lot easier to get a hold of, right? And in fact, as you mentioned, we can actually share where your listeners, the folks listening to the program can actually get the book for free. So really, it was really about taking what I've been doing for over 20 years and helping people, add 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures in record time, and just putting it into a book and coalescing it and making it very easy for anybody to start using, whether you've been in business for years or whether you're just starting out. And, one of the things that we look at in the 7-Figure Expert book is really why so many people who are very capable of being very successful really are holding themselves back. That's one of the reasons that I've helped people make so much money over the last 25 years is that, I help people really understand, identify the reasons that they're stopping themselves, holding themselves back, that they don't know they're doing. And then, of course, once you release those things, then, like you can go on to get a lot of growth and in a very, very short amount of time.
So would you say this book is different in that you're actually exposing what's holding us back, whereas your other scores of books are more digging into how you go about developing those habits? Could you elaborate?
Well, I mean, everything that I've been teaching for, the last 25 plus years since 1997, since, when I started my company, it really came from because I had spent so many years, just an insane amount of time reading all the books, going all the seminars, paying all the gurus, and realizing they all say the same thing. They're really all saying the same thing, just mostly regurgitating the same tired information. And I was like, okay, and it's not even that they're necessarily saying anything wrong. It's just that they're saying things that don't really help. And this is the example I love to give because it's very apropos when we're talking about the business or personal growth industry, right? You have all the gurus out there. We all know the names, right? And they're basically saying things that aren't wrong, but they also don't really help. So the example I like to give is imagine, you're driving in your car and you're going to a new place and you don't know exactly where you're going. And all of a sudden, your phone doesn't work, you can't get service, and so your GPS, your GPS isn't working, and you're like, oh shoot, I'm lost. I don't know where I am. And you're like, oh man, what am I going to do? So you pull over to the side of the road, you see somebody standing there, and you say, excuse me, I seem to be lost. Can you tell me where I am? And they say to you, yes, you're in a car. Now, you would say, okay, well, thank you. That's not wrong, but you didn't really help me. You see what I mean? And that's what the gurus tend to do. They say things like, well, believe in yourself. Come on, you can do it. Set your goals. And you're like, okay, yeah, I got that, but there's no there, and I found this out after spending an insane amount of money and time going to all these guys and saying, they all say the same thing. And that really didn't help. So what I've been doing for the last 25 plus years is taking all the stuff that they didn't tell us. I call it the black box of success. It's like a black box, right? And it's like, what's in the box? They never tell you. So I've exposed the box and say, here's what they're not telling us. And frankly, that's one of the reasons why my clients and, people like you, Brian, who study with me and taking classes with me and getting coaching from me, are making so much money in a very, very short amount of time.
So, I mean, I'm going to go off script a little bit here. So what would you say most people holds back most people or stops them in their tracks?
Well, I mean, I've written all of these books and all my coaching and presentations, keynotes and stuff that I do. It's really about this one topic, which is why so many smart, creative, talented people hold themselves back from the level of success they're perfectly capable of. And there are many, many surface reasons for that, right? And lots of people talk about that, the surface reasons or the symptoms. But what I do that's different is I get to the causal level, meaning what's actually causing that behavior. See, other people are looking at the behavior and saying, change your behavior. So Brian, if you're not as successful as you want to be, just set your goals and think positive, get motivated and work harder. Okay, well, wait a minute. First of all, you're already motivated. You're already working hard. You can't really work much longer than you're already doing. And in fact, well, what if I want to work less and still make more? See, they don't cover any of that. So what I realized many years ago is that the number one reason that so many smart, creative, talented people are holding themselves back from the level of success they're perfectly capable of, and they keep hitting, as I call it, the income ceiling, right? So many people that hire me, whether it's one-on-one or group coaching, they're hitting a ceiling, right? And they just keep hitting their head on that ceiling, no matter how many gurus you go to, how many seminars you go to. and they never tell you why. So what I realized is the cause of income ceiling syndrome is something I've been teaching for many years, and it's called head trash. Now, head trash, very simply, is the voice in your head that says, I can't do it because ... And then you just fill in the blank. So Brian, I mean, I think you might be a perfect example of this, right? Before you got training from me, before you got coaching from me, you were probably, saying to yourself, well, I really want to hit these goals. Like you had your goals very clear, right? So then why weren't you hitting them? Well, you'd spend all this time, money, and effort with all those other, gurus out there, but you still weren't hitting them. Why? Well, because of this thing that nobody else talks about, and that is your head trash. That's the voice in your head that says, well, I have this goal, but I don't think I can do it. Right. And I can't do it because ... And then you just fill in the blank. So people say, no, I want to make more money, but I don't have the time. Well, I want to grow my business, but I can't afford it. Or I want to, scale up. I want to, maybe I want to write books like you do, or I want to create online courses like you've got, but who's going to listen to me? Do you see what I mean? We all have these excuses, which I call your head trash. The head trash is the cause of the income ceiling. And so the point is, most people are trying to fix the income ceiling with all these outer things that aren't necessarily wrong, but they just don't fix the actual problem. And so once you get rid of that head trash, that is in fact the one problem that's causing all your other problems, then all those other symptoms tend to just disappear.
Huh. It's so good to hear that again.
Can I give you just a quick example of that, if I may? So I was talking with one of my clients named Charles. Now, whether it's one-on-one or group coaching, I always ask my clients, their goals and things like that. And I asked him this question. I ask everybody, say, Charles, how much do you think your head trash is going to cost you this year? In other words, if we don't get rid of this problem, if we don't fix this problem, how much do you think that's going to cost you in the next 12 months? Now, without batting an eye, he instantly said $1 million. Noah, if I don't get this problem fixed, it's easily going to cost me $1 million, in lost opportunity, lost wealth, lost wages, just things that I'm going to miss out on. Right. I'm easily going to lose out on $1 million, he said. So I said, okay, listen, first of all, I hear that all the time. People say to me every single day, Noah, if I don't fix this problem, I'm going to lose $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 a month. Now that's 6-7 figures a year. That's a lot of money, right? Yeah. So, first, it's very common. And then I said to him, you know what? Just give me 10% of that $1 million, and I will find you that $1 million in the next 12 months. In other words, if you give me $1 and I give you $10 back, is that a good deal? He said, yeah, that's a good deal. So he did that. He paid me $100,000 to coach him one-on-one. Now, that's one of the reasons I love to work with high achievers, people like you, Brian, because, you make decisions quickly and firmly, right? They don't dilly-dally. They don't say, oh, let me think about it. I got to go talk to my spouse or whatever. They say, let's do it. And he did that. So he paid me $100K to coach him for one-on-one for a year. And so I walked him through my process. I coached him. And in that 12-month period, I did not find him $1 million. Instead, I found him $1.8 million in just 10 months. So he gave me $1. I gave him $18 back. Is that a good deal? No, that's a great deal.
Yeah.
And not only that, he sent me an email recently. He said, guess where I am, Noah? I'm on a 7-week vacation with my wife. We just bought a new RV with all this new money we've got now as a result of our coaching. And he said, so we just bought a new RV and we're taking a 7-week vacation, driving all around the Southeast. And he said, so not only am I making more money than ever before as a result of what we, are doing, I also have more time than I've ever had before. So not only more money, but more time. And isn't that what we all want?
Absolutely. And you're famous for making clients more in 12 weeks than they've made in 12 months.
Yeah.
Charles is a good example of that. But
yeah.
How do you do that with like someone you've never met?
Well, that's what's the beauty of what I've been doing for all these years. And there's very few people who've been doing it as long as I have, with as many case studies and success stories as I have. In fact, I don't know anybody who is. And that's one of the things that I want people to realize, is that there's a big difference between personality-driven success and system-driven success. So personality-driven success is like when you go on social media and you see all the gurus out there, we all know their names, right? And they're saying, hey, look at my helicopter, look at my private jet, look at my boat, look at my car, aren't I amazing? And it's like, yeah, you're amazing. Have you helped anyone else make money? Right? Because it's all about them and their possessions, their status, all the money they've made. And it's like, well, that's great for you, buddy, but have you helped anyone else? Right? And the fact is that, and this happened because, I was seduced by that just like so many other people, right? We get seduced by those images. And that's why they do it. They're great self-promoters. They're great self-marketers. And they say, look how cool I am. Look how rich I am. And don't you want to be like me? And of course, everybody says, well, yeah, of course I want to be like you, right? I want to have lots of money. Well, no, duh. But the point is, just because they made money for themselves, that doesn't mean they can teach you and me how to do it. In fact, they can't, because I gave them over $500,000 to all these gurus out there, only to find they can't teach their way out of a paper bag. They truly suck at teaching. They're great self-promoters, but they can't teach. And so what I do that's different is I have a system-driven approach to success. Now, how do you know it's a system? Very simple, because it's not about me, the coach, the teacher, the mentor. It's about the people who I've helped to make billions of dollars over the last 25 plus years. You see? And so when you have a system-driven success versus a personality-driven success, that is the main difference of why my clients make so much money. And so one of the ways that we're able to do that is what I call inner game and outer game. Now, when you look at any human endeavor, anything that we want to do, whether it's make more money, grow your business, lose weight, get healthy, have a happy relationship, whatever it is, there are always the two components, the inner component and the outer component. Now, we just like to say inner game and outer game. So in this case, inner game is everything that happens between your ears that you can't see directly, but it affects everything that you do. So like, for example, in my keynote presentations, when I'm doing workshops to, companies, organizations, teams around the country, around the world, I'll often say to my audience members, what's one area of your life where your beliefs don't affect you? And people go, and I go, exactly. There's no place your beliefs don't affect you, right? Your beliefs affect your health, your wealth, your finances, your business, your career, your relationships. There's no place your beliefs don't affect you. But here's the interesting thing. You can't see a belief. You only see the effects of a belief, right? And that's why you can be doing well in one area of your life, but maybe in another, you're stuck or struggling. For example, maybe, your health is doing well, but maybe you're not making the money you want. Or conversely, maybe you make a lot of money, but your health or your relationships are suffering. You see what I mean? So it's not cookie cutter, one size fits all. It's a very customized, personalized approach that we have. That's why we have the systems to help people with that, then put that in place for them. And then you have the outer game. So along with the inner game, you also have the outer game. Now, the outer game is everything you can see directly. That's all of the systems and strategies, the offers, funnels, and traffic, and the online marketing and things like that, a lot of people have spent a lot of time, money, and effort on their outer game, but see, no one has taken the time to actually show them how to master their inner game, and that's why they're stuck. So I'll give you another example of that. Another coaching client that I had, his name's Adam. And I met him at a seminar I was speaking at in Los Angeles for about 1,000 entrepreneurs, 6, 7, 8-figure earners, very, high level people. And he came up to me out of the audience, and he literally, I just finished speaking and I was literally walking off the stage. And he said, Noah, I want to hire you as my coach. You are the coach I've been looking for, he said. And I said, okay, well, what's going on? He said, Noah, my company is doing well. We're at 7 figures, but we've been stuck at the same level for the last 4 years. 4 years, and they're still hitting that ceiling. And he says, I've spent all this money. I threw tons of money at the problem. I've hired every guru out there, all the marketing gurus, and we're still stuck. And he said, as soon as I heard you speak about inner game and outer game and head trash and foot on the brake and AFFORMATIONS, everything you just said, he said, I knew that you were the coach I've been looking for. See, that's another example. See, I love working with high achievers who make decisions quickly and firmly. They don't mess around. So anyway, he basically hired me on the spot. And I coached him one-on-one for about 18 months. And in that time, his company went from being stuck at 7 figures for the previous 4 years to over 20 million in revenues in less than 18 months. That is a 600% increase. We like to call that hockey stick growth, right?
Yeah.
You're going along like this, and then all of a sudden, you know, the magic happens here, and then whoop, you just go through the roof. So what's amazing about that example, and one of the reasons that I share that with people, is 95% of what I coached him on was inner game. See, he'd spent all this time, money, and effort on outer game. And it's not that it's wrong. I mean, hey, that got him to 7 figures, but he couldn't break through. And it was only when I taught him my inner game system, you know, that helped him get his foot off the brake. And you can see his video and, you know, lots of other people's videos on my website. But that's the point, is only when you master your inner game and outer game, that's when you get the hockey stick.
Wow. I mean, I'm on intake mode, and I know I have to ask you questions, but I'm processing. So, wow, let me just gulp that one down. So, yeah, I mean, absolutely, inner game, outer game, and it's all stuck between my head there. So, in your books, in your coaching programs, you're talking about unconscious habits of the highly successful. So could you unpack that a little bit and tell us what that means?
Yes, absolutely. So that's one of the distinctions that I made over 25 years ago when I started my company. In fact, it was basically the reason I started successclinic.com, my company, because I realized that everybody out there is really focused on the conscious habits, right? And I mean, we're taught a lot about habits and things like that. And, you know, that's great. I mean, because, you know, if you want to change your life, you probably are going to have to, if not change your habits, at least adapt some of them, right? I mean, if you, let's say you're at 6 figures right now and you want to get to 7 or even 8 figures, pretty obvious you're going to have to do something different, right? I mean, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. So we know we have to do something different, but, you know, number one, we don't know what to do usually. And number two, of course, even if you spend lots of money on the gurus, they don't tell you. So that's a big problem. So what I realized, again, one of the distinctions that I made back, you know, over 25 years ago, is that highly successful people are doing things unconsciously that they don't even know they're doing, number one, and therefore, number two, they can't teach it to you, right? And again, this came from me studying and reading and going to all these seminars, spending tons and tons of money and an insane amount of time going to all the gurus and seminars and realizing they're all saying the same thing. They're not necessarily saying anything wrong, but it just doesn't really help. And so the point is, what I realized is that whenever we humans want to master a new habit, right? Again, let's say you want to go from 6 figures to 7 or 8 or 7 to 8, whatever it is, right? Or even if you're just starting out, you want to get to that 6-figure level, you know, which is like one of the first milestones, right? As a business owner, you want to get to that 6 figures and then, you know, go to 7 and then 8 or whatever it might be, right? So we have to, when we're mastering a new habit, we go through 4 stages of competency. Now, the first stage is unconscious incompetence. That means you don't know, you don't know. The second stage is conscious incompetence. That means you know, you don't know. The third stage is conscious competence, which is you know. And then the final stage is unconscious competence, which is you do without thinking. Okay, so the example I like to give in my keynote presentations, you know, speaking to groups and organizations, I like to say driving a car, right? And I say, how many people here know how to drive a car? And of course, every hand goes up. And I say, did you realize that you actually went through these 4 stages that I just talked about in order to drive a car? So the first stage is you didn't know how to drive a car, right? Nobody comes out of the womb and says, hey, where's my car? Right? I mean, you don't even know you don't know. The second stage is conscious incompetence. That is, oh man, I really want to know how to drive a car, but oh gosh darn it, I don't know how to drive a car right now. You know, all I have is a bicycle and I want to get away from my parents and I can't get far enough on my bike, so I need a car. Oh, darn it, I can't drive. So how do I do that, right? So now I know I don't know. Then the third stage is you learn how to drive a car, right? You take driver's ed and you learn. And if you can remember back then, I certainly can remember, you know, taking driver's ed when I was in high school. And, you know, back then, you know, we had a Buick, you know, behemoth, and it was, you know, about a block long, you know, one of these enormous cars. It's like, you know, it was really hard. And so the point is, you know, but eventually you learn how to drive a car, right? And now today, for most of the folks listening to the program, you are unconsciously competent. That means you don't even think about it. You're driving a car, but you are not thinking about it because you're unconsciously competent. And if you think about it, there's dozens, maybe hundreds of things that we as adults, we do every single day that we actually had to go through those 4 phases, right? So what I realized many years ago is that highly successful people, the naturals of success, right, the people we all look up to and you know, want to emulate, They are unconsciously competent at allowing themselves to succeed. And what I mean by that is, going back to what I was saying earlier, they don't have head trash that's holding them back. They don't have one foot on the brake. They're not holding themselves back. And therefore, if someone who's never held themselves back from success, how could they possibly teach you how to stop holding yourself back from success? The answer is they can't, right? So that's why it took me, the nerdiest nerd in the industry, right? Meaning I spent an insane amount of time, money, and effort studying all these people and realizing, holy cow, they don't even know what they're doing. They're doing it unconsciously. But that doesn't help the rest of us. That's why, going back to my point of personality-driven success versus system-driven success, their personality is winning. And that's great for them. What if I don't have that personality? Guess what? Most of us don't. So that's why many people have said about, in fact, one of my earliest coaching clients, he said, Noah, after I literally helped him triple his income in less than 12 weeks, he tripled his income and his time off. I was like, you're welcome. Anyway, he said, Noah, do you realize that your coaching is the only coaching that fixes every other coaching? And I said, yeah, you're right. It does do that, doesn't it? And I was happy it came from one of my coaching clients, and I didn't say it, he said it. And I was like, it does. It's the only coaching that fixes every coaching, because, it's not that they're doing anything wrong. So, like Charles, like Adam, all the clients I, talk about, I mean, they were hitting an income ceiling, not because they're lazy or not motivated or dumb or stupid or any of that stuff. And that's what they tell themselves. They're like, oh man, I guess I'm just not going to succeed. I guess it's not meant for me. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's just that nobody showed you how to stop stopping yourself from the level of success you're perfectly capable of.
So I want to try to unpack that a little bit. I remember from your affirmations,
yes,
how you phrase that. It's like, why am I losing 100 pounds?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, I'm going to lose 100 pounds, which
right.
doesn't answer the question.
Right.
Whereas in an affirmation, when you ask the question, why did I lose 100 pounds and look great and have a tan and live on an island? Okay, that's a really big question. But your brain subconsciously works on the answer because you asked. Because you asked.
That's right.
What I hear you saying is when people have their head trash and their game is off center, they lack a belief that this, not that they can do it, but that it can be done at all.
Well, mostly it's that they can do it, because, you go on social media and, there's all this flex. It's called flex culture, right? Hey, look at how cool I am. My 7, my 8, my 9 figures, whatever. So I don't believe that most people think that it can't be done. I do believe that most people think I can't do it. Or even more specifically, like when people hear me speak, right? And I mean, I've got more case studies than anybody in the industry. And I do that on purpose, again, to make sure that people realize this isn't about me, Noah, the teacher, mentor, coach. Yes, I'm the guy teaching it, but it's about a systematic approach that anybody can use, and it works for anybody as long as you follow the system. Now, it's not magic, right? I mean, if you just sit there and think positive and expect to get different results, I don't know that that's going to work, right? Now, that's what we were taught by the gurus who teach, and they still do this. They teach the law of attraction, right? The law of attraction says, well, if you just think about money, money pours in from the sky. Really? What planet is that on? Because I'm moving to that planet tomorrow, right? Because on planet Earth, we have to do this annoying thing called take action, right? I'm like, hello. But see, that's the point of the gurus, is they tell us what we want to hear. Why do you think The Secret sold 30 million DVDs? Because it told us what we want to hear. We want to hear that, oh man, if I just think about money, money just magically appears. Who wouldn't want that, right? I mean, I'm a lazy bastard like most people, right? I'm like, I don't want to work. I want to just sit there and think about money and, oh, look at money. Gosh darn it, that didn't work, right? Because it doesn't work, because it's a lie. They just lied to us. It's simple as that. It's as simple as that. They lied, but they lied so that they could sell more DVDs. Works like a charm. The problem is that so many people saw that movie and others like that. And there's still lots of law of attraction teachers out there saying, just think about money. Really? So, how's that working for you? So, I live on planet Earth and I teach on planet Earth, because I wish someone would have helped me with this 30, 40 years ago, because I'd be a gazillionaire by now. Somebody would have helped me with this 30, 40 years ago. Nobody did. So I had to do it myself. And, now it's my stated mission to raise humanity's consciousness one question at a time.
So the secret, that's the secret of the secret.
The secret of the secret is they lied. It was a big lie. And I know everybody from the secret. My God, they all, if you go to my website, you'll see they all endorse me. I'm friends with everybody, and they knew that. They knew what they were doing. And, now they say, well, here's what we didn't tell you. Really? Okay. After you sold 30 million DVDs, now you tell it. Really? Thanks a lot, But anyway, that's the way it goes. And it's sad, really, because they're lying, they're stealing, they're ripping people off. And, so my story is certainly not unique in the sense that I spent over $500,000 with all these gurus only to find they can't teach their way out of a paper bag. I've had a lot of people say to me, Noah, I had something similar. I maybe didn't spend as much as you did, but, I certainly got ripped off by these gurus. And so that's what's really important. I want people to realize, number one, it's not your fault. Number two, there's no there. They are in fact selling a persona that doesn't really exist. And so the third point is, I want people to just realize, listen, if you want to have these 6 or 7 or 8 figure habits, they are adaptable. You can do it, but you do have to take the action. Unfortunately, it's not magic.
Right. You mentioned here on planet Earth, we have this thing called Take Action.
Right.
So how does your program help people prioritize their time and focus on the activities that will generate the best income?
Yeah, absolutely. So that goes back to my 7-figure expert formula. So when you get the book 7-figure expert, and again, we'll tell you how to get that for free. So when you look at it, you'll see that I give you my 7-figure expert formula, which is what I've been teaching and coaching people, who pay me $100,000 and more. So the point is that I want everybody to be able to get a hold of this formula without having to invest, 6 figures necessarily to get it. So one of the points of that is time, right? Because time is the most valuable resource, right? And the reason that is true is because we can't get any more, right? All of Bill Gates' billions can't buy 1 minute of yesterday. So the point is that time is absolutely the most valuable resource that we have because it's not renewable. And so, one of the things that people ask me all the time is about focus, right? They say, Noah, I'm having trouble. I know what to do, but I'm not doing it. I'm procrastinating. I keep putting things off, even though I know I should be doing it, And so that's one of the things that, I work with my clients on, whether one-on-one or group coaching. That's one of the biggest things, that we help people with. And so the point is, I want people to realize that when you look at the 7-figure expert formula, and I break it down in a very simple way so that you can realize, well, wait a minute, I think I need to work on this area now, and then I can really focus my energy on this one area rather than being distracted by all these shiny objects. I'll give you an example of this from one of our group coaching clients. So one of our clients is named Tamisa, and she's an entrepreneur out in Arizona. In fact, she's in real estate as well, real estate professional. And she was a self-proclaimed seminar junkie, right? She'd gone to all these seminars, spent all the money on the gurus, same story over and over, right? But and she was doing well, again, doing 6 figures, so not doing bad, but she knew she could do a lot better, and she just kept hitting that ceiling, right? Just couldn't break through that income ceiling. So a friend referred me to her, recommended me, and she joined my 12-week breakthrough program, because I have a program that helps you make more in 12 weeks than you did in the last 12 months. We call it 12-week breakthrough. And so, and you can learn more about that at breakthroughwithnoah.com. That's where you can learn more about that. But anyway, so she joined the program, and, she realized that, wait a minute, I've got, this head trash that nobody's talked to me about, and, using my formula. Long story short, in the first 2 weeks of coaching with me, she tripled her investment in 2 weeks. We hadn't even gotten to the money part yet, and she tripled her investment. So you want to talk about hockey stick, right? And the point is that she said one of the reasons that she was able to triple her investment was because she stopped being subject to shiny object syndrome, right? She had just all these shiny objects. And let's face it, every single day we're bombarded with shiny objects, aren't we? Right. And so it's very, very hard for most people, entrepreneurs, anybody, to really cut through the clutter. So that's one of the ways that when you cut through the clutter, when you stop being subjected to shiny object syndrome, you really can accomplish great things. I'll give you another quick example. I mean, people ask me all the time, Noah, how'd you write 24 books? And I always answer the same way, by writing them. Now, I know that sounds like a flippant answer, but it's actually true. I wrote them by writing them. In other words, I didn't allow me to get distracted, because I'm the same as everybody else. There's a million and one distractions every day. And, we live in a world of infinite distractions. But, when I'm writing a book, that's what I'm doing. I'm writing a book. And we actually have a book done for you service as well, because so many of my clients, just literally beg me, Noah, can you help me get my book done? And like, for example, we're working with a stem cell doctor right now in Nashville, and he told me that he has had this book rattling around his head for 10 years. Well, we got it done for him in 6 weeks. Wow. So, from 10 years to 6 weeks, boom. And, now he's going to be a best-selling author after, 10 years of really not knowing how to do it. So these are some examples of what can happen when you start to really focus.
Wow, so many questions I want to ask, but we only have 8 more hours to go here. So,
oh man,
I just want to review some of these notes here. I want to see if, yeah, time is not renewable. Focus is the priority. She tripled her investment.
Yes.
So, are there hot buttons in the book or in the system that you've identified with these successful people, like spots on a leopard or stripes on a tiger, whatever they might be?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a tiger and it has stripes and this is what it means. So, I mean, without giving away the whole story, like what's probably one of the first or second or third things that you have observed that they do that they don't know they're doing, which is tremendous success?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I've helped my clients add over $2.8 billion over the last 20 plus years, meaning, I help people add 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures in record time while also winning their lives back. And what's incredible about that is that 95% of that is a result of what I taught them on inner game. Inner game. And I talked a moment ago about inner game and outer game. And I want people to realize what makes this different. And that is that when you go to the marketing gurus, what are they going to do? They're going to say, do Facebook ads, do webinars, do TikTok, whatever. Those things aren't wrong. There's nothing wrong with those things. The problem is you already knew that. You already heard this a million times. And so that's number one. But number two, that's all outer game. And so what happens is, going back to, the examples I've shared, like Charles, like Adam, like Tamisa, like you, like everybody, right? I mean, I think you can attest to this, Brian, that, when you start to discover what's going on in your inner game, you go, holy cow, I didn't realize I was holding myself back. I didn't even know I was doing this. And I'll give you an example from my life. When I discovered all of this, I was 30 years old. Right, I'm 56 now, so I've been teaching this for 26 years. When I was 30, I realized that I had been holding myself back my whole life because I didn't want to be more successful than my father. Why? Because I didn't want him to be jealous of me. Now, I didn't know I was thinking that. That wasn't a conscious thought. I wasn't standing around, waking up in the morning going, I think I'll hold myself back from success today so my old man isn't jealous of me. I never had that thought. Right? But nevertheless, that was the thing that was holding me back for my entire life up to that point. And I had no idea, And so that goes back to the point that I make in my coaching and in my books and my courses is the difference between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is like an iceberg. There's about 5% that's visible above the surface. The vast 95% is invisible. It's below the surface. And what I always say to my clients and my audience members is it wasn't the 5% of the iceberg that they could see that sunk the Titanic. It's the 95% that they didn't see. That's what sunk the Titanic, and that's what's sinking most of us, right? And so the point is that once I had that realization, I went, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that. And that was the beginning of, the work that I've been doing now for the last 26 years of helping people to stop stopping themselves from success. So it's exactly like you're driving to your goals with one foot on the brake. If you have one foot on the brake and you're driving to your goals, you can step on the gas as hard as you want. You're probably not going to get there. So that's why, I also share my success stories, not only of myself, but more importantly, of everybody. This is a system-driven success approach, and that's why anybody can do it as long as they take the action.
So it's up to the person to turn on the lights in their own head.
Yeah, well, and to your point, that goes back to what another one of my clients said to me years ago. He said, Noah, as we were doing this work, it's like you turned on a light in a room that had been dark my whole life. And I realized that that is exactly what it's like. Because if you think about it, for everybody listening to this program, I want you to just imagine for a moment that you're in your home and all of a sudden somebody comes in and turns off all the lights and you can't see. It's completely dark. And then somebody says to you, okay, and now I want you to rearrange the furniture in your living room. And you're like, well, I can't see what I'm doing, right? And they say, here's what they do. They say, well, come on, get motivated, psych yourself up, think positive, believe in yourself. Now you see what they're doing? They're so-called coaching you. But what are they doing? It's totally unhelpful. You can't see, right? So you're like, okay, fine, I'll try it. And you go and you hit your shin and ow, and you're stumbling around. You can't see what the heck you're doing. So what I do that's different is I come in and I go, click. And you go, oh, thank you, Noah. Now I can see what I'm doing, right? And I realized when my client said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what this is. Because when you're talking about the subconscious, you can't see it, right? Like I said earlier, that example I gave, I wasn't going around thinking it. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, boy, this looks like a great day. You know what? I think I'm going to hold myself back from success today. Right? I mean, no one's ever said that because that would be a conscious thought. But see, it doesn't matter. Like Adam, like Charles, like to me, I mean, like everybody, we humans tend to hold ourselves back without knowing it and without meaning to, of course. Nobody means to do this. Nobody wants to do it. But see, when you're only talking about the surface level symptoms, it's just going to make the symptoms come back worse. So what makes this approach different, what makes my approach different is we're working on the causal level. We're fixing the causes of the behavior. Once you eliminate the causes, the behavior goes away. That's when you get the hockey stick growth.
So we're all starting at unconscious incompetence.
Well, that's where we want to end up, is unconscious incompetence, meaning allowing ourselves to succeed. Okay, so right now, for most people, they are unconsciously holding themselves back from success, but they don't know why. So that's why or going to all these seminars and all the gurus that are only talking about the surface level. Where am I? You're in a car. Okay, you didn't say anything wrong, but you didn't help me. You see what I mean? So that's what makes this approach different.
So I want to just clarify.
Mm-hmm.
We want to end at unconscious competence?
Yes, that means I don't even have to think about it anymore, like driving a car, right? So I've given myself permission to succeed. That was the name of my first book. My very first book was entitled Permission to Succeed because I was the first person to realize, holy cow, we don't need any more how-tos of success. We need to give ourselves permission to succeed. And I actually trademarked that term. I own that term, permission to succeed, because I realized, oh my gosh, nobody's teaching this. Nobody else is talking about this, right? And everybody's talking about how-tos. That's fine. But what if I have my foot on the brake in the first place and nobody's ever talked to me about that? That's why I said earlier, I wish someone would have taught me all this. Someone would have taught me all this 30, 40 years ago. I'd be a gazillionaire by now. Unfortunately, I had to make it myself. And, I've done well, right? But, my clients collectively have done billions of dollars as a result of this work.
Yeah, 6,000 square feet. We'll call that cozy.
Pretty good. Pretty darn good. I mean, from a 300 square foot basement apartment to a 6,000 square foot mansion. Yeah, not bad.
Cozy. Yeah, comfortable.
Comfortable. Yes, indeed.
Room.
Yes.
There's a term I was thinking about in preparation for a meeting with you today, and I don't know if I've ever heard it or seen it anywhere, but you are a mental health coach to the stars. How's mental wealth sound?
Yeah, I've heard other people say that, and it's fine. I just what's ironic about that, I'm glad you brought that up. What's very ironic is I've been teaching mental health for over 25 years, but 4 years ago, you couldn't say mental health, right? Prior to the pandemic, if you said mental health, people would take you off to the loony bin. They're like, oh, he's crazy. He's talking about weird stuff. I'm going, good God, people, what is wrong with you? But there was this huge, huge taboo just about the term mental health. You couldn't talk about it. So what happened was, as a result of the pandemic, guess what happened? All these celebrities started talking about mental health, and that finally made it okay. I'm like, guys, I've been teaching this 25 years. I'm glad you finally came to the party. Nice to have you.
It used to be that Botox was taboo and no one would talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And now nobody can raise an eyebrow.
Ka-ching. Nice one. But I'm pumped. Little dad humor there.
Yeah, I got a dad book back there too, dad jokes.
No, I know.
It should say bad jokes, but
right, exactly. That's a good one.
So I think we've covered a lot of ground here.
Mm-hmm.
This has been healthy for me. I've been doing this, but in some areas I'm at the unconscious competence level, but every now and then I gotta shake myself up and wake up and find out what room I'm in and is the light on or off. And we're okay down here, but what's next and why am I not doing that and all this? And I don't even know that I'm not doing it yet. So I'm absolutely going to be my thing to do when I can do it is book in the hand, toes in the sand, and you'll be joining me on the beach soon.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
One page at a time.
Indeed.
Or if you want to come on down, that one's good too.
I will have my toes in the sand. My wife and I can't wait. And that sounds like an invitation, which I will definitely take you up on, sir.
Absolutely. Yeah. So now in my different life and my different body here, every day I try to start my day with a protein-rich fruit smoothie.
Yeah.
The bartender keeps calling them pina coladas.
But up.
Yeah, okay. I'll stop there. I won't quit my day job.
All right.
So super, super thankful, super grateful, not just for today, but for my life over the past decade, writing in that journal every day, writing real small so I could fill up the whole page. Absolutely made a difference because, you ask yourself those questions in the affirmations day in, day out. And eventually your brain goes to work and starts saying, well, this is why, because now you're doing this. And it was really interesting. It was about a month ago. We've got a couple interns that work with us in here. And I walked into the kitchen and I was going through my daily routine, the new habits that I have, which are now my normal life. And I looked up and I realized that I made the statement, today, I am the person that I dreamed of becoming.
Wow. That's powerful.
Yeah. And I'm here. Forget all this, forget the books, forget, all that stuff, the rented cars that they put on those late night programs and bring them back after the shooting's done. Forget all of that. It's like, I'm living a life I dreamed that I could live.
Wow.
And now even my wife and I, last night we were out, we were walking on the beach, a different beach we've been to, picking up shells. And each shell for us is a different dream or a different aspiration. So for most people, it's a shell, but it's like, okay, this shell represents the last 20 years of taking action to get my butt here and do the hard work. And I got to thank you for all of that too.
My pleasure.
I guess we'll do the drum roll now and we'll tell people how they can get the book. So I'll put it in the show notes for this, but the website is 7 figureexpertbook.com. And that will be in a tag in the bottom of the video. You'll see it right down here in the video, right down here. And your coaching programs, Breakthrough with Noah. Tell us a little bit about that and how you would like people to reach out to you there as well.
Absolutely. So if you go to breakthroughwithnoah.com, I'm known as the breakthrough coach because I help people get that hockey stick growth, 6, 7, 8-figure increases. So breakthroughwithnoah.com, you can watch an 11-minute video training that I did on, basically what I do and how I do it and what makes it different. And then you can also book a breakthrough consultation there at breakthroughwithnoah.com. And yeah, I mean, it's just seeing if we're a good fit to work together and if I can help you in terms of one-on-one coaching or group coaching. Or my different online courses that we have. So yeah, if you go to breakthroughwithnoah.com, that's all right there.
So this is the big finale here. I asked this to every guest on the show. For you, I'm going to put a little spin on it because it's not real estate. So Noah, what's next for you and why not get started on it today?
Well, you certainly don't have to tell me that. That's what I've been teaching for over 20 years. But yeah, I mean, believe it or not, I have 4 books coming out this year, and I've got another 4 or 5 next year. So it's been a very productive couple of years here for me here at Success Manor. But yeah, just more books and frankly, more speaking. I'm going to be speaking around the country and around the world. Doing more going back to traveling. The last few years I've been home doing virtual training, which is really nice actually. I love sleeping in my own bed and eating my own food. But more corporations, organizations, teams are reaching out to me and wanting me to come in and coach and train them. So I'll be doing more of that. And hopefully I'll be down to see you real soon, Brian. But yeah, that's what's coming, and I'm super excited.
Excellent. So just a quick brief summary. We went through the head trash, the things that people hold them back. We talked about the inner game, the outer game. The inner game is those things you can't see. The outer game is all that other stuff. You got to identify your head trash. You can't be driving the car full speed with the foot on the brake. There are things highly successful people do unconsciously, and that's the wrapper around this whole presentation today to get people to turn on the light and see what's going on. There's the 4 levels: unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, knowing that you need a car, conscious competence, figuring out how to drive the car, and then unconscious competence, like driving that stick shift and not even thinking about the clutch anymore. The hardest thing people have to deal with is allowing themselves to succeed and just let go of all that other stuff. Time is not renewable, ever. Trying to focus on focus has got to be a priority. You've offered some great giveaways to our listeners today. Why do tigers have stripes and leopards have spots? We'll figure that one out in the next podcast. But people know how to get in touch with you. They know how to get your books. I mean, 9 more books coming out in 12 months. Obviously, you're sitting around doing nothing.
Nothing. Just nothing.
Right. Sure. No, you're taking action. And you're kicking butt and taking names. Yes. So if you could say anything else to our listeners today before we sign off, what would you share with them?
Well, a couple of things. Just number one, if you do go to 7figureexpertbook.com, that's easy to remember, 7figureexpertbook.com. The book is free. We just ask you to cover the shipping. We ship anywhere on planet Earth. And then when you go to breakthroughwithnoah.com, make sure you just tell me in the form when you book your breakthrough consultation, make sure you just tell me that you heard me on this program. And of course, we'll take great care of you because any friend or listener of Brian's, we were going to give white glove VIP service to. So just make sure that you let us know you heard it. You heard me here.
I'm so humbled to have you on our show. This has been an absolute honor for us here. I can't thank you enough. Let me know when you book the flight and we'll get you set up with itinerary.
Nice.
So ladies and gentlemen, again, it's been my pleasure, honor, my mentor, my coach, Noah St. John, Dr. Noah St. John, to be here on the podcast today. And this is Brian Lucier from the Why Not Real Estate Podcast, signing off on another episode. We'll see you on the next one.